X-Men issue 9 heads to Hela in the past, where the Accuser asks where the Kree found the Brood alien in front of him. Kree say that they found it in the dark matter flow of a dying universe, discovered by a remote team that posited that the aliens are part of a hive mind that mimicked the team's behaviour and adapted it. This, however, was a trap on the Brood's part, as the Brood killed the team, making survivors realise that they were dealing with an ancient, highly adaptive species. The Accuser wants to know how adaptive they are, so watching a demonstration, he learns that the Brood consume not just the host, but the knowledge the host had, even turning them into a Brood once they are done with them. The Accuser enters the cell as he kills the monster and the newly created Brood. While killing them, he learns that they are matriarchal, and his Kree scientists propose that genetically seeding the hive with a control mechanism will let them control them and allow the hive to evolve along a predictable path so they can turn them into a weapon and use them against rival civilizations that threaten the Kree. They reveal that an egg, called the King Egg, will help render the hive under their control, since there is no more research to be done. The Accuser hopes that they are ready for judgment, and the scientists say they are, so they are brought before the Supreme Intelligence, who extrapolates the data given to him, saying that the hive would take 8,000 years until it could topple a rival empire to the Kree, but he says the Shi'Ar would be a prime candidate for the Brood takeover, approving the weapon. 8,000 years later, the X-Men race away from Earth and into Shi'Ar space, followed along by the Brood-controlled space whales, who are catching up to the jet. Havoc soon spots more whales in front of them, spitting the Brood out towards them. Elsewhere, the Accuser confronts the Starjammers, telling the hologram of Roberto either he pays for their lives with the egg or he will kill the smugglers. Roberto admits that he actually forgot about the egg, since he and Sam got to watching the Shi'Ar version of Jeopardy! Corsair isn't too happy about this, but Roberto stops with the jokes, saying that he made some calls and the egg is actually heading in their direction. Soon there's a loud sound. The Accuser knows that their station is being boarded. Roberto says that that's the bad news, since someone tracked the call and something else is headed their way. The ship's door blows open and Gladiator and his team enter, telling the Accuser that they are in Shi'Ar space and they are free of Kree judgment, so they are to leave or they will be killed. The Accuser doesn't see it that way, saying that he is doing the righteous millennial work, and should Gladiator die here, it only proves how righteous the work is. Kid Gladiator stops them, saying that he remembers how his father would always be too busy with the Empire and this was meant to be their bonding time hunting, but now he forgives his father for all his past misdeeds, telling his father to kill the Accuser for him. Gladiator happily attacks the Accuser, throwing him from the ship, just as the X-Men's jet rockets into the space, causing the Accuser to fall into the maw of one of the undead space whales. The space whale bites down, eating half of the X-Jet along with the Accuser, causing it to begin to fail. Scott says that he will try and land on the planet, but since they are near a station, it will get chewed up in their wake. He gets Alex to contact the station, telling them that the Brood swarm will be coming for them, but he sees his father is on board the station. Corsair tells him that they will catch up later, but right now he needs to know if they have the King Egg. Alex confirms they do, so Corsair hopes that they are landing, but Scott says that it's more like crashing as the whale slams into the station, ripping it apart and raining debris down on the planet. Crashing onto the planet, the X-Men survive the crash along with Gladiator and his team from the station. Alex leads the teams into a cavern as Jean tells Scott that she can't get into the Brood's minds since they are full of madness and are under total and utter control of the Queens. Jean says that Scott can't imagine the control the Queens emanate, living their lives as predators that just consume everything. She wants Scott to consider what it would be like to have literal millions of one's own species willing to die just so the Queen can have a little bit more of what she already has. Jean knows that that type of appetite for power is just insane and wants Scott to imagine if there was one thing that could take that away and turn the drones on the Queen, that being the King Egg. She knows that the Queens will do anything in their power to stop that from happening, and they do as the team battles literal millions of hordes of Brood, all of whom will do anything to stop the threat. Soon they are surrounded, but the monsters stop. Scott rallies the X-Men thinking that they are victorious, but the others say that this isn't a victory since the Brood would have not stopped for a reason. Corsair wonders where the egg is and he finds that Broo ate it, meaning the threat to the trillions of Brood is now over since Broo has become their king. X-Men issue 9 upped the ante on the Brood story as the space portion of the story with the Starjammers and the Shi'Ar Empire meet the X-Men side of the story in a really cool way. My favourite moment of the issue, and dare I say the book so far, was Jean explaining the Brood and the Queen's want for power to Scott. It is very rare, at least for me, to feel a sense of fear when reading text in a comic, but Jonathan Hickman here did a fantastic job giving Jean's words this sense of dread and scale to what the X-Men are actually dealing with. And then it's also backed up with the art showing just millions upon millions of Brood surrounding the heroes there at the end, which was really awesome. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Brood being in charge of the Brood means, and will they become friends with the X-Men? Does that mean Brood is now an enemy of the X-Men? I'm really excited to see what Hickman has in store for us. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10.